Arsenal today, neither of them playing in kits that I understand, but apart from that, what you do understand is that Liverpool with 2 late goals are through and Arsenal out of the FA Cup this season. Delighted to say Richard Butler, the Arsenal podcaster, is with us, and so too is Slim Williamson, Liverpool podcaster as well. Gentlemen, very good evening to both of you. If I come to you first, Slim, if I may, in that just what this Liverpool side beginning again to sort of grow under their manager Jurgen Klopp needed for this season.
Yeah, definitely was a great performance, a different kind of performance, especially with Mo Salah going to, play for international duty, and Endo Waterloo going on international duty, because I think he stepped up in recent games in that 6th role, and seeing McAllister back in that 6th role showed me how good Endo has been in that role. So it was a different kind of performance, but we dug deep and we got the victory onto the next round.
As far as you're concerned as well, Richard, is this just out of the way now? I'm obviously disappointed that you haven't gone further, but I think Liverpool just about deserved it.
I mean, we missed a lot of chances, didn't we? Especially in the first half. I mean, we should have been 2 or 3 up maybe at half-time. And it's been a typical kind of story for us over the last few weeks, hasn't it? We create a lot of chances, we don't stick the ball in the net, and then we get caught out by set pieces. And obviously the counter-attack for the second goal. So, I don't know, I thought we were maybe, over the 90 minutes, I thought we probably created the better chances. And had we been a bit more clinical, we may well have won the game. But the longer it went on at 0-0, the more I felt Liverpool were probably going to win. They were starting to get more and more chances in the second half, weren't they? And in the end, I mean, I'm really disappointed because the FA Cup, we won it 14 times, as you mentioned, more than anybody else. It's been a competition that, we've not won the Premier League for 20 years. We've not won the League Cup for 30 years. We've not won a European trophy for the best part of 30 years. The FA Cups have been the thing that we've kept managing to win and keep ticking over. And in the last few years, we've gone out very early. So, really disappointed today because I felt as though, yes, you could look at it and say, well, we're still in the title race for the Premier League. Yes, we're still in the Champions League. Yes, our chances of winning either of those two, I don't feel were as high as our potential to win the FA Cup this season. Well, and now that's gone, and we've got to hope that everything comes together in those other 2 competitions, because another season without a trophy, I don't think is really where we want to be looking at as a club. Again, 4 seasons in a row without winning anything, I don't think would be good enough. So, big disappointment tonight for Arsenal. Really, really big disappointment.
Yeah. But strikers, everybody says how rare they are, but I'm never quite sure how they are so rare. But if you don't have a striker at this very highest level that's got everything, you're not ever going to win anything.
I mean, it's not just strikers, is it? It's the forward players that, I mean, we had a lot of opportunities today. Yeah. And yes, if we had a goal scorer in our team, I think we would have won. If we'd had a goal scorer in our team last week, we'd have probably beaten Fulham. We'd have probably beaten West Ham on Boxing Day. So it is a problem. It is definitely a position that we are short in. And we need, if we don't address that in January, which I'm not getting good vibes that we're going to, unfortunately, I wonder how we're going to progress this season without that, because we are creating chances. And you're right, it's difficult to get, Liverpool have got Mo Salah. I know he's away at the minute, but he scored 30 goals every season. We know about Haaland at Man City. He's getting goals. You've got Son at Tottenham. He's scoring goals on a regular basis. They had Harry Kane before that. So they are so important, those type of players. They get you results in games like this, don't they? They get you through rounds of the FA Cup. They get you to win league titles. And where we get one from, I don't know. But we've got to do something, because clearly it's a problem in our squad at the moment, isn't it? We're short in that area. And if we don't do something now...
Come on,
I don't think you need a striker. I think the position of a striker is something beginning of the past. Pep started it first, where playing just forward attacking players, and it was only a season's past he just brought in Haaland. I think what you guys need is your wide men to be more clinical. If you look at Salah, he's not a striker. Yeah, Darwin Núñez is the only striker we actually have. Jota, he's not a striker, but these are guys that know where the goal is and know how to get you 10, 15, 20 goals a season in the league. And I think that's Arsenal's problem. They're wide men, your Martinellis, your Trossards, your Sakas. They're not getting enough goals. They're not clinical enough. I think if those guys take the chances that are given to them, because your approach play is excellent. I mean, in the first half, you won that game in the first half for me. So your approach play is excellent. If those guys can finish the chances that you guys create, you'll be all right. I don't think you need to go out and buy a striker. Strikers are not really something that is out there at the minute. I mean, name me a top striker outside of Haaland. Who's out there?
Well, there's one striker that you might want to spend 30 million or so on would be Ivan Toney, wouldn't it?
I would have him. I would have him.
I don't think Ivan Toney is the answer. I don't think he's the answer. I like him. I think he's a great. He finished at Brentford. He looks good, but the step up can be totally different. You know, more games, bigger stages, tougher opponents. At Brentford, you know, he's kind of a big fish in a small pond. No disrespect to them. I'm not sure if he's going to cut the mustard at Arsenal, but would you be happy spending 30 million on someone like that?
Well, I think that...
I mean, until someone's had that opportunity, though, you don't know. I mean, look at Mo Salah. He's never scored that many goals until he went to Liverpool, and it's worked, it's fitted in, and he's got all those goals. And there's nothing to suggest that Ivan Toney couldn't come to Arsenal and start scoring 20 goals, 25 goals a season. We don't know. It's a risk, isn't it? If you spend a lot of money on anybody, some players work and some players don't. And I kind of agree with you in the sense that it might not necessarily just be a striker that we need. And yes, obviously, Martinelli needs to score more goals. There's no doubt about that. Saka's missed some chances in recent games. Kai Havertz today missed 2 or 3, didn't he? That he should have done better with. But that's because those players maybe aren't good enough. So we need to buy players that are better, that are going to be more clinical and take those. I mean, you know, these players, I mean, apart from Kai Havertz, who's only been here this season, but Saka, Martinelli have been here 3 or 4 seasons in the first team. They're not going to get any more clinical now than they are already, are they? Probably.
No,
so...
We're not as well.
We need someone else.
Yeah, I mean, for both of you, I mean, I think we talk about, you know, the striker that everyone thinks we're talking about here, or you think we're talking about here, is the man up front, the man who can hold it up if necessary, can do all of that, the old-fashioned type of striker. We're not talking about old-fashioned strikers, because all the way through the generations that I've watched, some of the great strikers, I mean, whether you go for Keegan or whether you go for a Dalglish, there was Toshak, obviously, who was part of that. Mickey Quinn did an awful lot just before the whole start, really, of the Premier League with his striking. And Gary Lineker was another one that used to go in off any part of the body because they got themselves in the right position. And I believe Mo Salah is a striker. He wasn't a good enough striker at Chelsea, but I believe he's a striker. Of course he's a striker. He plays wide, but in modern terms, I don't think you have to label these men at the front. You could nearly say that...
Thierry Henry wasn't a striker, was he?
No, another one who was... Thierry Henry was great.
I agree. I agree with you. Mo Salah is a striker, but he's not in a conventional sense.
He's not. We're not interested in the tough man who goes up on his elbows. You can have the defenders up for that. Oh, and by the way, on everything now, I still don't understand, and both of you tell me, and it happens all the way down in football, why do so many sides just put all of their men, well, they leave men back. Why not put them all up there? I really don't understand why, because I think you give a come and get me if the opposition want to leave a striker or somebody who's quick further up front. Why do they all do that? Slim?
It's the counter-attack. It's so dangerous these days. I mean, all the top teams are great at counter-attacking, you know. So I think the risk versus reward, I think when you're throwing a ball into a box, it's so 50-50 whether you're going to win it or not. So every chance, I reckon it's probably 80-20 in the defending team's favour of winning a corner. Yeah, so the counter-attack is so dangerous, so you can't risk by throwing everybody up.
Corners are a myth, aren't they? But I'm looking at seconds and thirds around from that is something that I know it's worked on, but it does amaze me. I understand the pace and I understand everything about that and the quality. But just at times, I do feel that sides that are struggling to score need to have more of a go than they are.
Well, you look at today, the second goal was a perfect example.
Yeah.
Arsenal throwing players forward. Yeah,
but last minute, I mean, of course you're going to do that in a cup, aren't you? 1-0 down with nothing to play.
That can happen. That can happen in the 30th minute, the 15th minute, the 10th minute. So you have to, you know, risk versus reward. Like I said, I think it's a bit of a gamble to throw too many players forward. So I think it's right to leave a couple of players back to stop that counter attack. And you saw Liverpool do it a couple of times today. Took a couple of yellow cards, Gravenberch, even Trent, the young boy, I forgot his name, took a yellow card as well. So you've got to be careful. So that's why I don't think you get many teams throwing players up like that.
Slim, would you look at I mean, Saka's been out of sorts a little bit. He's such a young man. Of course he is. He's not always going to have it in his right way and what have you. Is there someone else that you think you just go and have a go run across the whole of the back rather than just staying wide so much? I mean, he comes inside really well, but I nearly let him float.
Yeah, I think when he did that, I think it was in the first half, he looked really dangerous. Yeah. And I think he needed to do more of that. When he was playing against Gomez, who's a right-footed player, it wasn't in his favour to beat Gomez. So I think he needed to come inside and link up more with the other front two to cause more havoc. But you know what? From a Liverpool perspective, I'm glad he didn't, because he's a very dangerous player, Saka. I'm happy for him to keep chalk on his boots and we manage him out there. But yeah, if he does that a bit more, he'll probably get a bit more joy. And he's got a wonder of a left foot, so you know he's capable of hitting that in the top corner.
I still think, Richard, that for Arsenal, Ivan Toney is a good fit. I still think he's got more than just being a striker. I think he's got pace. I think he's got awareness. I really think that he could be a really good part of your top 15, 16.
I mean, I think so, yeah. I mean, I know the traditional centre forward, as we've mentioned, isn't really a thing in the Premier League these days. But every team, you know, like we said before, you know, Liverpool have got Darwin Núñez, who plays as the centre forward, if you like, not in a traditional sense. I mean, Arsenal have Jesus, who plays there when he's fit, Eddie Nketiah, Kai Havertz played there today. And for me, Ivan Toney would be an upgrade on all of those players playing in that same position for Arsenal. So obviously we want better players who are more likely to take those chances when they come along. And I think today, had Ivan Toney been in Arsenal's side today, we won't know. We may well have won that game, because we could have got the first goal, and you felt that was a sort of game where the first goal was going to be so important whenever it came in the game. And you know, I'm not saying we would have won had he been playing, but some of those chances that felt to Kai Havertz, I felt as though had Ivan Toney, or maybe just someone who's a more natural finisher, had got those chances, they would probably have scored. We would have gone 1-0 up, and then potentially we could be sitting here and it'd be Arsenal in the fourth round and not Liverpool. But we don't have that player, and that's why we've been struggling. 1 win in 7 games. We're just not scoring goals at the minute, and we've got to do something in the window for me now. Whether it's a centre forward in a traditional sense, a Haaland type player, not that there's any of them out there, or if it's more of a natural goal scorer in that front three, we need to bring somebody in, because that clearly is our biggest issue at the moment, is sticking the ball in the back of the net. For all our great play, it's not enough if you don't score. I say 3 defeats in a row, we could have won all 3 of them games. We've lost all 3 because we didn't score when we had the chances.
Slim, as far as this reinvention of Liverpool again by Jurgen Klopp, he's had to do that. I mean, this is what you do if you get longevity at a club. This is an important win for this side.
So important for the morale. So important for the morale. Again, I mentioned Mo Salah. He's obviously the star of the show. Him not being there, it was time for them to show that they could step up in his absence. And you know, it isn't all about Mo Salah. So it was absolutely imperative getting the win today. It was bigger than going into the fourth round for me. It was, like I said, it was for the morale of the team. And I have to commend Klopp on his changes. I mean, first half, we were playing out of the back. Young Kwanzaa looks excellent when he's alongside Virgil van Dijk. You know, he's obviously got him as a leader, but without Virgil there, he looked at sea. Second half, we stopped playing out from the back. We put Núñez on the left, which caused all sorts of chaos for Ben White. And yeah, it just worked. And Diogo Jota, he's going to be key for us in this little running without Salah, because yeah, he just has that know-how, that intelligence on the ball. I mean, for the second goal, you see he takes it from Núñez, he knows what to do, puts it in Diaz's path, out of his feet, goal. So yeah, it was a great performance from the lads today, and great substitutions and game management from Klopp as well. I'm really happy.
Well, you mentioned that, of course, you got Fulham, haven't you, at home in the Carabao Cup, the semi-final, come Palace midday Saturday, I think it is, at the weekend. So, you know, these are games as well that you've just got to build on this. I mean, again, if you don't sort of do it, or half of it, on Wednesday, you'll be very disappointed after this result today.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I'll be honest, when you, in the beginning, you see the cup as a little bit of a hindrance, but when you get to these stages, semi-finals and that, you want to win them. So yeah, after the performance today away at the Emirates, to go to have Fulham come to our place on Wednesday, I think, yeah, we should be looking to win that in the first leg, and then obviously go Fulham and just do a job when we get there. But yeah.
Ramsdale back in goal?
I mean, he did all right today. I mean, we can't criticise him for the goals or anything today. What I mean, maybe the first one he could have come out and claimed that or been a little bit more positive with that. But I mean, he's not going to be playing, is he now? The FA Cup was probably the only games he would have played in. He's not going to play in the Premier League, that's obvious. He's probably not going to play in the Champions League either. So is that his last game for Arsenal? It could well be, because will he still be here even in this window? Or certainly not at the end of the season. So it was nice that he got the opportunity today. I didn't think he let us down today at all.
He made a good save before they scored, didn't he?
He did make a good save, yeah. He didn't have a lot to do, did he? Liverpool didn't have a lot of chances at goal, shots on target. Obviously, they scored with 2 that they did have, although technically only 1 because it was an own goal, the first one. I think, yeah, he could have maybe done better with that set piece. He could have maybe been a bit more commanding, but, you know, overall he did okay today. But he's clearly number 2 now, isn't he? And I think that may be his last game for the club potentially now. Now we're out of the cup. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, unless there's an injury, of course, to David Raya, hopefully there won't be. But yeah, I mean, he did all right today, and fair play to him. He's done okay for Arsenal. But I do think that we've got a better goalkeeper now in David Raya going forward, and maybe we'll just look at, you know, moving him on either now or in the summer and get a number 2 in who's going to be happy. He's not happy being number 2, is he, Aaron Ramsdale?
No.
And he wants to go to the Euros and stuff like that. Of course he does. He wants to be playing football. You can understand that. Absolutely, I agree. If he's going to play regular, he needs to not be at Arsenal, because he's not going to get them regular games now, unfortunately.
Richard, Slim, Happy New Year to you guys, and thank you very much indeed, as always. Great start to the show. We're going to be talking Maidstone United, who beat Stevenage today in the Cup next.